I'm Staff Sergeant Catherine Heller. I'm an 11 Bravo in the Army National Guard. Honestly, I joined the Army National Guard because it's something I've always wanted to do. I can't remember the time that it hit me, that when it was, maybe it was seeing a soldier at the store or seeing a soldier come and talk to me in elementary school, but just the passion and the way that they're able to sacrifice their lives for others and help others was amazing. It was something that I really admired and wanted to be a part of.
Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to the graduation ceremony for the Infantry Advanced Leader course and Infantry MOS Qualification and Transition course.
When they made the change allowing females into the infantry, I thought it was pretty amazing. The opportunity that if females wanted to, if that was their passion and that was their dream and that was their goal and something that they wanted to do, that they would be able to.
To the MOSQ qualification and the MOS transition course graduates, again, congratulations, and I think you will find that when you receive this blue cord, that you will find the pride that comes from joining a very small core of professional soldiers. Everybody in the Army is a professional. Everything that we do is important. Everybody that has a mission is important to our cause, but it's the infantry soldier that basically finishes the battle. The last 50 meters, the last clearing out of a building, the last enemy contact is usually handled by the infantry. So your job, that now that you are the infantry, you are the newest infantry soldiers in the Army today. I
made sure, as I would for any soldier that's going to attend a school, that I could do everything that was required before even coming here, as we should for all soldiers before they go to a course. But honestly, it wasn't a month-long training. I've been training probably for, I'd like to say, like 6 months. Just looking at those different skills, did a lot of rucking. I bought a weighted vest. I would run every morning at 4:30 in the morning, and then I would ruck. All right. It wasn't a give me for me personally. I'm not saying that the other people couldn't do it, but there was a lot of work and a lot of support, and it wasn't just me. I definitely had a lot of people on my team motivating me, practicing with me, getting me to the next level. I'm not a big person, but I can carry my own weight.
My name is Staff Sergeant Nicole Freilich, and this is Military Working Dog Keys. As soon as I had the opportunity to apply for K9, I did so. I've always been a huge dog lover and knew one day I wanted to eventually work with dogs. So Keys is my first green dog. When I first pulled him out of his kennel, I felt like this dog didn't even know his name. Sitting over here, Keys, and he's not even looking. So we definitely started from the basics. As a green dog, we go through different stages before we make the certification as a team together. We'll go through the rapport phase, build a strong rapport, and then from there, we'll go to recognizing odor and building his confidence in odor. Keith is very much a puppy. He's learning everything is new. Since picking up Keith, I've definitely learned that I have to stay positive and keep my cool. But I knew I had a long road ahead of me, and we still do. We've only been a team for a month and a half now, and he has progressed extremely. I always tell everyone in the kennel, he is going to be the best dog in this kennel.
I'd like to introduce you to some of my teammates. There's a Marine using a howitzer cannon to send a message to terrorists. We come from a lot of different backgrounds, but we all fight on the same team. We're your sons and daughters, your brothers and sisters. We're not special, but we do some pretty amazing things. Like the sailor who spends months at a time underwater in a nuclear submarine. Or a paratrooper flying into the fight, jumping at 900 feet with seconds to react if something goes wrong. And somebody's grandmother will be at the dinner table tonight because of this Coast Guard rescuer. These are my teammates, the men and women who fight to protect the American way of life, our way of life. The ones who answer the question, who? Who will it be? By raising their right hand and saying, me.
I do solemnly swear that I will support and defend the Constitution of the United States. So help me God.
My name is Lieutenant Colonel Vince O'Connor. My call sign is Crush. I fly the mighty F-16 here in the world-famous, highly respected Triple Nickel. A fourth-generation multi-role fighter, so we've got a number of missions that we fly in support of combat operations in and around the world. When you train and when you focus as intensely as we do, naturally from that, what builds is a strong connection. And that exists here in this squadron. It's a family. The family roots are strong. And that's 75 years worth of family roots.
We're the only squadron out there that calls ourselves the world famous, highly respected, and we're able to do that for a reason.
I think most fighter pilots have heard about the Nickel, even like cadets at the Academy. If you've heard about a fighter squadron in general, you've probably heard about the Triple Nickel.
We are the world's largest distributor of MiG parts with our 39 confirmed air-to-air kills as a squadron.
One of the privileges of being an F-16 fighter pilot here at Aviano, it's on our shoulders to project power, to protect our wingmen, to defend those troops on the ground, and we have all those capabilities to do that.
Being in Italy is definitely an interesting place to be. Not only is it beautiful, obviously, living here, but we've taken off out of this base with combat-loaded F-16s and gone to war in them, and then you come home at night.
The squadron gained its reputation in combat, and my favorite thing about it is that it continues to maintain that reputation in combat as well.
The Triple Nickel has been a combat unit since its beginning in the 1940s with World War II.
Back in World War II, it began in the B-26 flying combat operations against our Axis foes there in Europe. And they got a Presidential Unit Citation for their gallantry while they were out there. And since then, for 75 years now, that's what this unit has been about. It's been about combat. It's been about excellence in combat. Everyone who's a part of this unit understands that legacy, and they want to be a part of it.
The only plane that I wanted to fly was the F-16, so I worked to get to the F-16, and when I found out that I had an opportunity to be in the Triple Nickel, I jumped at that opportunity.
I was super excited to show up to the Triple Nickel. The squadron has a legacy in the Air Force, and it's exciting to try to live up to that standard.
I had definitely heard about the Triple Nickel, so the Wolfpack in Vietnam with the 8th Fighter Wing was a huge deal. That was where the Triple Nickel got all of its MiG kills.
The Vietnam era was an incredibly legendary time for the Triple Nickel. And that's where we got our 39 air-to-air victories, and where all of our aces were born. And incredibly brave, incredibly professional airmen.
My first F-4 assignment was Udorn, Thailand in 1968 in the world-famous, highly respected Triple Nickel. That was brand new. So I ended up with essentially 3 tours, 450 plus combat missions, 800 combat hours, 4 distinguished flying crosses, and 30 air medals. So that's a bucket load. It doesn't buy me a cup of coffee, but I'll have the Triple Nickel buy me a beer while I'm there.
I'm Doug Melson. I flew with the Nickel from May of '68 to August of '70. 2 tours, front and back. So they needed guys with combat experience. I raised my hand immediately because that was where the triple nickel was.
The squadron's famous for having the only fighter pilot ace of the Vietnam conflict, and that's Steve Ritchie. At the time, he's a captain in 1972. He earned 5 kills during his time in Vietnam.
The MiGs would they could turn on a dime, and they liked to fight in a telephone booth, whereas the big brute, big double ugly F4 wasn't designed to do that and wasn't well equipped to do that. But the nickel was very successful. They had 20 kills before I got in the squadron.
So Robin Olds is really a fighter pilot, if you will. He was an ace in World War II, and he was really one of the driving forces behind changing air tactics in the Vietnam War that led to an increase in air-to-air successes.
So in Vietnam, the squadron moved back to the United States.
I went out to Luke Air Force Base in November 1974. In early November 1974, the Air Force had received the first F-15. It was a B model, a 2-seater, from St. Louis, the first operational airplane to be acquired by the Air Force. The nickel had been at Udon, Thailand, and they took the flag and took it to Luke Air Force Base. So by this time, the first F-15 squadron in the Air Force was now the triple nickel.
Even though Luke Air Force Base wasn't a place where they were flying direct combat missions out of, the combat mindedness and the innovative thinking carried over from what we experienced in Vietnam, with the innovation and the critical thinking and the many different ways that we found to win in combat, carried over into flying now what was a brand new cutting edge technology in the F-15 that the triple nickel had to figure out how best to employ.
We respect guys of old, and we look back and we have photos of World War II in our squadron, but that stuff's still going on today. We still are holding up this squadron's reputation, its standard, and its combat legacy 6 months ago, not 60 years ago. Back in Vietnam, their biggest mission and their biggest success was to kill a MiG. Ours is to save a guy on the ground.
One of the most rewarding things was listening to or talking to the JTACs afterwards, and they all wanted the triple nickel overhead. They wanted the F-16. They wanted that air power that we could deliver, and they knew that we would deliver on the first try, accurately, precisely, and with deadly effect.
Like, these guys wanted to win. They had vested interest in us as the ground party. They knew us by our names, you know, like they truly cared, you know, like, and that was how they contributed, you know, with their air to ground superiority. To pinpoint like a moment where I was like, oh, thank